Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Birdie Goes Crafting. Today I'm playing at making a video with my new camera equipment which I got at Christmas about how I make covered buttons. I'll try not to make so many blips in it. I'm a little bit excited, I'm a little bit nervous about it, as you can probably tell. So off I go to get some materials. I'm back again with all the things I need. I have fabric. I've chosen this one, but you can use any. It's up to you. I have a pen so that I can draw circles because that is the shape of the button that I'm making. I have some button moulds here. Old buttons. I'll just cover up a great stash buster because you can use old thread, scraps of thread, scraps of fabric, buttons that you don't want anymore. Obviously we have needle and thread as well, and scissors. I've also got some padding because this, I might decide to pad the buttons, I'm not sure. And then I have a stencil, and this is where I'm going to start. This is what I will use first. Next, what I need to do is work out which bit of fabric I want to use to cover my button. So I'm going to use my stencil. I'm going to use the largest hole and I'm going to place it over and work out which bit I want. I know this circle is big enough for this button because there's enough room around the button for me to do some tacking. So all I'm going to do is put the button on one side and draw the circle. This doesn't matter that I'm using a black biro because once it's cut out you won't see it. Here's one that I've cut out already, so that is what it'll look like. So then we move on, and this is when I've tacked it all around the edge, and you can see that that pattern's going to be beautiful in the middle of there. So now I'm going to put the button there, going to pull it really tight, and I'll just secure that there. The button definitely won't fall out now for sure. This is a really good way of, spoils the surprise for later. You'll see that button again. This is a really good stash buster because it does use thread, it does use old buttons, it uses old fabric. It's brilliant. So now you can see that I've gathered all that thing, but it's not perfectly round. I want to make sure that it is, so I'm going to create some tension by sewing across here from one side to the other until all the gathers on the side have smoothed out. So I'll go there and that'll save that one. Then I'm going to go there, pull that in. I'm going to trying to escape, pull that in, pull that in. Slowly but surely the back of the button's getting flatter and flatter, and the button on the front is getting rounder and rounder. If you see any like little lumps like that's just, you can tell that one's not done. I'll just go pull that bit in especially, and you can see how now it's rounding off really lovely. That bit's not tight enough. Put another stitch in there. Right, I have especially used a dark thread for the back. It doesn't matter because you won't see it, but I thought for camera purposes it would help the viewer see exactly what I've done. And so once that's all nice neatly tightened off, and I've got a lovely nice little round button there, I'm just going to knot it off and we can move on to the next thing. A covered button is just a covered button, but they have lots and lots of uses. Some are cosmetic, some aren't. So the fact that this stitching is visible doesn't really matter because you won't see it. I must admit I did it in black just so that it was better for the camera, but you can make them more cosmetic if you want. This is a button that I've made, and I appreciate it's a completely different style, but you can see how on the back I've put a felt disc, and I've even made a small shank for it. So if I wanted to give that as a gift, that's a much nicer product. The thread that I've sewn that with is separate to the thread that I sew it onto something with, because I don't, if the button becomes detached, I don't want the button to unravel. Now, covered buttons can be used for all sorts of things. They can be used in jewellery, they can be used in mixed media, they can be used as brooches. There's loads and loads of things, and simply for garments as fastenings as well. This was one that's sort of a bit more mixed media in style, and that I've done. It's essentially a covered button, and I've used scraps. I think it's a milk bottle lid in there because you can cover anything. Again, not all buttons need to be round. Some can be square. This is an embroidered button that I did. A square embroidery over a square base. Again, you can see that I've neatened the back off with some felt. And this is one that I put up in group, and that's an embroidered circle, and I've embroidered that circular space and then covered a button with it. Really nice, a good scrap busting thing. I did do stitch camp, and I had a little bit of fabric left over, and I won't get too close to the camera because it doesn't like it, but I've covered this in hand painted fabric. Again, really unusual. I think what I would say is if you're going to embroider them, it's usually easy to embroider them before you cover the button. It's a little bit more tricky then. This is another one that I've just done, and it's completely different to the others. The first one I've ever done, and this is where I've ruched, smocked some fabric, and I got an old shower curtain ring and covered it. But that is lovely. I mean, that could be a feature on any clothing and look grand. And the truth is, it's only scraps of fabric and odds and ends. So the options are limitless with these buttons. It goes as far as your imagination. I hope that you've been inspired. I'll let you have a little peek at them again. I've enjoyed making the video. Been interesting. I've learned a few things along the way, and thank you for watching.